Someone asked for it in the comment section yesterday, and here it is. It's the Sam Houston Bearcats entering year 2 in the FBS fray. In year 1, as an FBS level program, did not necessarily go as planned. Sure, there were some pretty good things, but Casey Keeler's group, a group that won an FCS national title, did not have a very good time adjusting to this new level of competition. However, in year 2, there's expected improvements. They're bringing in some transfers. Can Casey Keeler's group start rising the ranks of Conference USA in 2024? You're about to find out what I think here in this video. What's up, Tailgaters? You're in the booth with Tailgate Nate today. I want to welcome you to my channel, and of course, welcome you back to prediction season, which is actually almost over, guys. Prediction season has under a week left. I know, really sad to see it go, but hey, very excited to be concluding here and finally have every single team up on my channel. And it just means the college football season is getting closer and closer. If you're as big of a college football nerd as I am, you're going to want to hit the subscribe button and going to want to ring the bell so you know everything I have to say during the college football season as well. And hey, please help support the channel any way you can if you'd like to do so. Just watching this video, which I thank you for greatly, helps support my channel in more ways than you can even imagine. And you can do a ton more by liking, commenting, sharing, and really anything else that I have or haven't said that you can do to interact with the channel. Look, it all helps support what I do here on YouTube, and I really appreciate everything that you guys are willing and able to do to help me support and grow this channel. So, without further ado, let's dive on in to the Sam Houston Bearcats here in 2024. How do we talk about teams this offseason? Well, I'll tell you. We'll take a deep dive into the team's offense, into the defense, and at the end of the video, we will go through the team's game-by-game football schedule, and we'll give it a good old game-by-game preview and prediction. I should say we'll go through the team's football schedule, give it a game-by-game preview and prediction, kind of merge the two. Before we do begin, a couple more things I got to tell you, because right over here will be the stats team put up either offensively or defensively last season. And of course, for your viewing pleasure, right down there below the team's logo, I've went ahead and put the team's coaching staff. And I also do have to say, it is currently, as of recording this video, storming where I am right now. So if you hear any thunder or anything background noise, I apologize sincerely. I tested it earlier. It didn't seem to be a problem. But nonetheless, let's dive into talking about the Sam Houston offense here in 2024, which again had a very hard time adjusting to this new level. And now look, quarterback play was honestly not really the biggest issue here because they did have Keegan Schumacher last year, Shoemaker, however you pronounce that last name. He has run out of eligibility and graduated. 2,507 yards, 15 touchdowns. The problem in lied, though, when he threw 11 interceptions. But, I mean, through 63% completion percentage, I don't think you can complain too much. Yes, you probably want to keep that interception number a whole lot lower, and this is a lot more of a passing team than a running team because, as you can clearly see over here, it was the run game that struggled last season. But all in all, Keegan Schumacher, you can't really complain too much with what he gave you from the quarterback position, but you will be losing him due to graduation. So who do you return? Well, Grant Gunnell is coming back. He was the primary backup last year. He's kind of bounced around everywhere. He's been with Arizona, been with North Texas, then landed here at Sam Houston. He was 14 of 22 for 100 yards, no touchdowns, and 1 pick last season. Again, that's only 22 pass attempts. Only so much you can take away, but you are getting 2 guys in from the transfer portal that I think could help be some pretty big pieces here to this team. You go ahead and take a look at who they are. Well, Jace Bauer is a guy that is coming over here. He is coming over from Central Michigan. Apologies for the pause. I had to pull up his stat line here because I got to tell you what he did with CMU last year. 1,881 yards, 12 touchdowns, 8 interceptions on 56% completion percentage. Had a couple really good performances last year, including a game against Western Michigan. Had a couple not so good performances last season. So it's up to Jace Bauer here. Probably going to end up being that starting quarterback for this team to find some consistency, to find his rhythm, to be able to get his yardage and touchdown number up while keeping that interception number low. Again, you want a much better touchdown to interception ratio out of Jace Bauer this season. If he is not going to be the starting quarterback, well, you're going to look towards a guy by the name of Hunter Watson. He is transferring into this program as well, and I mean, hey, if Jace Bauer's not ready to go, or if Jace Bauer doesn't look the part on what Casey Keeler wants as the starting quarterback, you'll go with Hunter Watson. But again, I think it's going to be Jace Bauer, the CMU transfer, that'll take over the quarterback position this season. Now, the rush game did struggle last year, yes, and it wasn't in big part due to the offensive line. I mean, yes, you definitely have to talk about the offensive line could have done a little bit better job at opening opening up some holes for these running backs, but you don't lose anyone out of the running back room. So expected improvement, or I say improvement is expected this season. You return everyone that had a major contribution to this running back room from last season. Your leading rusher and John Gentry, 391 yards, 3 touchdowns. He is back. Adrian Marbaugh and Zach Herbacek. Hopefully, I'm saying that name right. But you also get a transfer, a former Northern Illinois Husky who was really, really good over there, transferred over to Memphis, didn't get utilized like he wanted to. So now he's here with Sam Houston. That is Javion or Jay Ducker, and he's going to be the lead back this year. At least I feel ourlads.com has him as the lead running back here for this team. And I think with everyone coming back, with him coming in, you should see much improvement out of this run game here in 2024. Wide receiver and tight end room, otherwise known as the pass catching room. Alvonte Woodard, you are going to be seeing him transfer out of this team, or not transfer, he has graduated. Last season, he was the team's third leading receiver, as I just had to fix the spelling there. 339 yards, 2 touchdowns on 31 catches last season, right around 11 yards per catch last year. And then Jack Sherrard will be leaving this team here as well. He was the second leading receiver among tight ends last year, 147 yards, a touchdown on 12 catches. So you do lose a couple of those guys there. Again, both of them gone due to graduation. So who does return? Again, pretty much everybody else. Noah Smith and Malik Phillips were your top 1-2 in the receiving category last year. Noah Smith had 783 yards on a team-high 79 catches, so sitting right there around 10 yards per reception with 6 touchdowns last season. And then you want to take a look at Phillips. 430 yards and a touchdown on 35 catches last year. You do get back Simeon Evans, Ife Adayi, hopefully I'm saying that name right, Quavez Humphreys, and Shane Johnson. They'll all be coming back to this wide receiver room. And in the tight end room, you do get Elijah Sohn. Again, how do you pronounce that name? He's coming back. 159 yards, 2 touchdowns on 15 catches last season. Thomas Jewett will also be joining him, as well as a couple transfers. Austin Smith and Fernando Garza will both be coming in to this program. And now on the offensive line. Again, the offensive line definitely could improve in a lot of ways. Look, they only allowed 19 sacks last year, but maybe they can be a little bit better in the run game. Well, Diari Patton is going to be a name that leaves this offensive front. So who all comes back? Well, you do get Grayson Jackson-Smith, Mark Kendrick Beal, hopefully I'm saying that name right, James Dodd, Orion Irving, Ethan Hagler, Williams McCollum, and Rhett Larson. Again, apologies for any mispronunciations there. They're all coming back to this offensive line. No notable transfer really that I could find. Maybe there's a name or two that comes in from a community college, or maybe just a name or two that I happen to miss. But overall, when you take a look at this offense, I think Jace Bauer is going to give you pretty good quarterback play. Again, he definitely needs some development from where he was last season. But overall, if he can step up his game from where he was at Central Michigan and even provide similar stat line to what Keegan Schumacher was able to provide this offense with last season, that's going to bode really well for this offense. I expect the run game to improve, especially now that Jay Ducker is here with this program. You got some good weapons in the pass catching game. The offensive line should still see some pretty good success, and I think will improve in that run blocking. And all in all, I mean, you're looking at a Sam Houston offense that I think, while it's not necessarily going to look drastically different, I think it's going to be drastically improved here in 2024. You go ahead and take a look at the defensive side of the ball. If my slide would change, sometimes these things are funky. Hey, there you go. The defense, in a lot of ways, was also not that bad. They got off the field in a pretty efficient rate of 37.1. That's the only conversion. That's the conversion percentage that they allowed on third down last season. 26.2 points per game. Not a bad number there either. But again, some things that you want to get better. Yeah, you want the secondary to get a little bit better. Maybe get a little bit more ball hawking. You want the rush defense to improve. But here's all the names that you do lose off the defense from last season. Akeem Smith and Chris Scott. Those are 2 losses on the defensive front, and both of those guys are going to be gone due to graduation. Smith had 19 tackles with a sack last year, and Scott 18 tackles with 3 sacks last season. He was the second sack leader on the team. He had the second most sacks on the team, I guess I should say. So, who do you return here to this defensive front? Well, not super many notable returners that I could find, at least. Javon Leon, Chris Murray, and Matthew Aribasala. Hopefully I'm saying that name right. They all come back here to this team, all in their own ways, pretty impactful pieces, but you do get a lot of transfers coming into this program as well. Marcus Moore, Quincy Wright, Dylan Frazier, they're all going to play high impact minutes on the defensive front for Sam Houston. They kind of like to play a 3 defensive front. They also have the jack position, and anyone that will qualify as a jackal that will play the jack linebacker position, obviously you just heard me say it, is going to be in the linebacker room here. So what are some guys that are going to be coming back in the linebacker room? Well, in order to do that, we have to understand what they lose out of the linebacker room, and they do lose a couple really good ones because Trevor Williams is going to be gone. He was the leading tackler last year, and he broke triple digits, 135 tackles, a sack and a half, and a couple interceptions for him last season. He also had a pick 6. Yeah, pretty important player there. He's gone due to graduation, as well as Markel Perry, another top 10 tackler who had 35 tackles, a sack and a half last season, and Donovan Adkins will be gone here out of this room as well. He could play defensive back in there as well. That's actually what he is listed as on ESPN, but I went ahead and slot him in the linebacker position, 33 tackles for him last season. So in the linebacker room, what do you get back? Well, your top leading tackler is gone, but your second leading tackler is coming back. That is Kavane Gaither. Hopefully I'm saying that name right. I apologize for mispronunciations this morning. All right, this morning as of recording this video, this afternoon as of time you're watching it. 72 tackles, a sack, an interception, and a pick 6 for Gaither last year. You also do return guys like Sincere Jackson. Isaiah Nixon is going to be one of those guys that plays the jack position this year. Trey Fields, Jalen Phillips, and Bryceon Hayes are all names that return to the linebacking room for the Bearcats, spelled with a K, here in 2024. Defensive back room, let's talk about it. You lose a couple other really, really good pieces, including a top 5 tackler from last year in the cornerback room. He's gone through the portal. That is DeCarrick Hobbs. 38 tackles, 5 passes defended. He also did recover a fumble last season. How about that? He's going to be leaving this cornerback room, and you do lose a couple other guys due to graduation. Isaiah Downs and Jordan Morris, not to be confused with the MLS and United States soccer player, will be leaving this cornerback room for Sam Houston here. And out of the safety room, well, you do lose another guy through the portal and a vital piece to this defense last season. DeMarcus Crosby will be severely missed. Third leading tackler with 55 tackles, had 3 passes defended, and led the team with 4 interceptions last season. You take a look at some other interception leaders off this team, and Downs was one of them, so you're losing 2 interceptions there. Again, both of those from Isaiah Downs. So right there, 6 interceptions gone, and if you want to go back to the linebacking room, you do lose 2 more when Trevor Williams leaves. You're losing a lot of turnover production from last year, but again, just speaking in the defensive back room, a lot of very talented pieces will be leaving the Bearcat defense. So what do you have coming back in your defensive back room? Well, you do get Davion Armstead still coming back here in the cornerback room. You will also be getting David Fisher and Iman Allen coming back, and Joe Swen is a transfer coming in. In the safety room, Caleb Weaver is back, 4th leading tackler and 49 tackles, 4 pass defended, and 2 interceptions last season, as well as Elias Escobar and Jaden Scott. They'll both be coming back, as well as some pretty impactful transfers. Jalen Jimerson and Nike Hawkins will be coming in here to this team. And with no notable losses in the special teams room, you got to show the kickers some love because, hey, they are people too. Jadon Cardell will be back to do the punting duties, and Colby Sessoms will be back to do the kicking duties here for Sam Houston this year. So overall, you take a look at this Bearcat, again, spelled with a K, defense. You're just looking for improvement in pretty much every facet here of this defense. And again, that's not to say this defense was bad last year. It's not to say the defense cost them games, because I truly don't think it did. I mean, you go back and look at the offense, and a lot of inconsistency things over there probably didn't help. But you take a look at this defensive side, I think they got some good transfer portal pieces coming in that defensive front, in that defensive backfield. The linebacker room, along with the jack position, I think is going to be really good for Sam Houston this year. And Gaither, I think, is going to lead a really good group of players there. You're getting in some good transfers in pretty much, well, I already said that, didn't I? Some good transfers in on the defensive front that I think are going to bode really, really well, especially in that safety room. I think Jimerson and Hawkins are going to play really vital positions for this team this season, really, really vital roles. I don't know. This is just kind of one of those defense where I'm looking at, let's see what gets better. Let's see how much things improve. And I'll be excited to see what the Bearcat defense has in store here for 2024. Maybe at very least on paper, you could say there will be minimal improvement made, but you're looking for a little bit more drastic improvement made here as they enter this season. All right, now they enter this schedule. Hey, Any game at home is going to be underlined, while any game on the road is in italics or that slanted text. And we haven't had one of these in a while. There is a neutral site game. It is listed accordingly there in week 5. Any game that gets highlighted in green will be an easy win for Sam Houston. Any game in yellow is going to be one of those close competitive games, but hey, one that I still have Sam Houston being able to win. Any game in red is a loss, and without further ado, let's start by diving into, hey, where else the game in week 1 against the Rice Owls. An in-state team. Rice obviously is also a program in the state of Texas, out of the ranks of the American Athletic. And Rice has proven to be very competitive in the past couple of seasons. I think that continues this year, and I think Rice is a little bit better suited than Sam Houston is. First off, you want to look at the quarterback position. I think Rice has that beat. They're getting E.J. Warner over from Temple, where he was a bright spot with the Owls program over the past couple of seasons. And Temple, or not Temple, my apologies, Rice, I think is going to be a really competitive team this year. Yes, they lose Luke McCaffrey, a couple other pieces on offense, but they got a lot of good returning pieces, and they return pretty much everybody on defense, and I think that's what sets them apart here and what's going to help them win this game. I think the Rice defense steps up, makes a couple big plays, and defeats the Sam Houston Bearcats. And then I just don't think Sam Houston's going to go on the road and beat UCF. That's a very, very tough ask. The Knights are going to be a really competitive team out of the ranks of the Big 12 this season. And look, you're getting KJ Jefferson coming over from Arkansas. If he can start to find his rhythm back and find his groove, you're looking for UCF to have a really good season. Dynamic playmakers everywhere. Penny Boone, RJ Harvey. That's going to be one of the best backfields in the country this season. UCF is really talented, and they will be beating the Sam Houston Bearcats. I also think Hawaii is going to be beating the Sam Houston Bearcats. First home game of the year, in a game that, honestly, Sam Houston definitely can win, but I think the thing that holds this one back for me from it being a Sam Houston win is they do get Braden Shager back there at Hawaii. A lot of really talented wide receiver pieces, and Sam Houston, especially at this point, you lose your first 2 games. You're still trying to play around with things in the secondary. I don't think all the transfers are fully settled in, even though they're really talented. And look, even if this Sam Houston secondary is a lot better, and I mean a lot better than it was last season, even if that proves to be the case, I think Hawaii's passing attack will still be too dynamic, and they will beat the Sam Houston Bearcats. But the Bearcats will be able to get their first win of the season when they beat the New Mexico State Aggies, who I just don't think are going to be that great of a football team this season. I mean, New Mexico State, you want to go back and look, they lost everybody from last year, offensively, defensively. Pretty much every major contributor is gone. Now, they do return a couple of really good pieces. They brought in some pretty talented transfers, and overall, I think New Mexico State can still prove to be somewhat competitive in Conference USA, and this is a game that New Mexico State also can win, but Sam Houston itching to get that win. They probably are going to be very close to getting that win against Hawaii. I think they're going to be able to get this win against New Mexico State, but their next 2 games, I don't think they will have much luck. I think they lose this one on the neutral site to the Texas State Bobcats, and it just is a product of, again, Hawaii's passing attack, I'm predicting, will be too much for the Sam Houston defense to handle, and the offense as a whole at Texas State, I think is going to be way too much to handle. Yes, you do lose TJ Finley. He's gone over to Western Kentucky. Talk more about that later, but you get Jordan McLeod coming over from James Madison, and to me, that's an upgrade. You thought the offense was good last year. The offense is going to be even better for Texas State this year. The defense is expected to take a step in the right direction, and that's going to be a really hard one to win for Sam Houston. So they lose to Texas State, and they also lose to UTEP. So each of the 3 teams they have played within the state of Texas this year, I think they're going to lose all 3. UTEP is bringing Scotty Walden in to be the head coach. Love Scotty Walden. I love his philosophies and everything that he's about, bringing some really good pieces from Austin P with him, along with some good returning pieces that UTEP has here. And overall, I think the Miners, if you're going to want to look for a fringe bowl game team to kind of get into that bowl game, I think UTEP is going to be a team that's going to definitely make that push. Definitely going to be really competitive this season. Cade McConnell taking over at quarterback. He kind of made that transition last year in place of Gavin Hardison. I think he's going to have a really good season in this offensive system. And UTEP, I think, will be beating Sam Houston. So, okay, you get through the first half of the season, not at all what you wanted. You're on a 2-game losing streak, and it's going to be really hard, even after the bye week, to gain some momentum back here against the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. They're going to be one of the better teams in Conference USA this season. And look, even though they lose Malachi Corley, even though they lose their quarterback Austin Reed, and a lot of very more talented offensive and some very talented defensive pieces, you're getting TJ Finley coming in there. If he had a season at all, even close to what he had at Texas State last year, that's going to be a huge win for Western Kentucky, and they're going to be a really good team this season, bringing in some good transfers. I think Sam Houston loses that game. So, okay, you can't afford any more losses if you want to get to a bowl game. And while I think you look at the schedule, that's kind of tough to avoid. I think there is a point in this season where Sam Houston gets hot, and I see no better stretch to do it than this 3-game stretch right here. The FIU Panthers are going to be dangerous this year. Kwan Jackson? I'm going to fact check that. Wow, I was way wrong. Apologies to all my Panther fans out there. Kwan Jenkins, that quarterback at FIU, is going to be a dangerous thing to watch, and he's got a lot of good talent around him. But overall, again, there's got to be a point this year where Sam Houston gets hot. What better part to do it? I'll say it again than this 3-game stretch. I think they're going to be able to get this road win against the FIU Panthers. I like the matchup here. Jace Bauer, while I don't know if he's going to be able to outduel Kwan Jenkins, the defense is going to have a lot of things figured out by now. Sam Houston's going to be itching to get back in that win column, and I think this is the perfect time to do it because then you have a home game against Louisiana Tech that I also think you're going to be able to win. Now, Louisiana Tech, also one of those teams, much like UTEP, much like Middle Tennessee, much like even in FIU and Conference USA, that's going to be battling it out right there in the midst here of this conference. Sure, they might not be a Jacksonville State or a Liberty or Western Kentucky, but they're going to sort of be battling it out there in the middle. They're all going to be pretty darn good teams, but Louisiana Tech, again, Sam Houston is going to get hot here. They get to come back home. They get a huge road win against an FIU team that very well may prove to be more talented than them at the end of the season. They're going to pick up this win against Louisiana Tech, and then on the road after the bye week against Kennesaw State. Look, I just think that the Owls are going to be one of the worst teams in college football this season. I do not think that Kennesaw State's going to be very good. They were not a very good team in the FCS last year. Now they're taking a jump in competition, losing a lot of pieces, and I think that's a win for Sam Houston. So you're getting hot. Does that momentum continue on the road against Jacksonville State? Unfortunately, I don't think so. Yes, Zion Webb is gone, as well as some other really talented pieces, but you get some really good pieces in the wide receiver portal, A, coming back, and B, coming in through the portal. Logan Smothers is still there, and overall, I still see Jacksonville State being one of the best teams in Conference USA. They were kind of the team to make the jump with Sam Houston. They fared much better, and I think they'll get the win against the Bearcats this year. I also think the Liberty Flames will get the win against the Bearcats. What more do I need to say? Caden Salter, Quentin Cooley, some really talented defensive pieces. Liberty's going to be the best team in Conference USA this year. They'll push for a college football playoff spot, leading the Bearcats to a 4-8 record, which is improvement off of last season. And I think this is a team that's going to see their improvement this year. Do I think it leads to a bowl game? No, I really don't think so. I mean, maybe they can, yes, if you're able to pull off a win against Rice, if you're able to get maybe Texas State sleeping on that neutral site, UTEP, maybe even Hawaii. I think the path is there. Do I see them making a bowl game? Not necessarily, but improvement will be made for Casey Keeler, and you're looking towards a bowl game push for 2025. But I got 4-8 this year. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Remember to play our Tailgate harder, and we'll be moving on to the Buffalo Bulls. Goodbye.